Sterling Lady Knights welcome in Cinnaminson. I'm Brian McLernan, joined by Dan Leake and Connor Strauss here in a very new location, guys. We're here in the Channel 19 newsroom as we welcome you guys in for some volleyball action. Lady Knights coming in at 1-7 on the year. Cinnaminson at 1-5. Two teams sitting at the very bottom of the Patriot standings, but hopefully a good game coming up for us here.
Definitely, and I think Sterling needs this win. I think it's very important for them. It's important for their stars, Laurel Conway, the senior, and Aaliyah Herman, also the senior, to step up and just deliver a good game.
Yeah, I agree. I think this is a good game for Sterling to, get some momentum, carry it into next game, and I think they come out with the win here. Yeah,
Sterling coming off of a big win against Florence here the last time they played here, but some important history. Sterling has won against Cinnaminson in the last 7 times they've met. Cinnaminson has not beaten Sterling since 2018, so the history right now here on the Lady Knights side, again, them coming in at 1-7 on the year. So obviously, sitting, I'd say, below expectations for what most of us have expected. I mean, they've had some pretty good teams in the past couple years, but hopefully they can stay in it and obviously hopefully get to the playoffs here.
Yeah, and don't let the record fool you. They are a very good team. They've had a couple injuries, but they've been able to battle through them, and I think come playoff time, they're going to be a scary team to face.
Yeah, and definitely one of those big injuries. Johanna Dunnings, the junior, currently has the most assists on the team. Been injured throughout the year on a little bit of a sprain, but I think once she comes back, I think she'll be in a great spot. And I think Sterling, records, you can't be deceived by records. And come playoff time, a record doesn't matter. It matters how your team plays. So we're going to get to some picks here. Connor, how do you think this game will go?
I think Sterling's going to win in 3 sets. I think Sterling wins this 2-1. I think it's going to be a very competitive match, but I think in the end, Sterling is going to take home the victory.
I'm going to say that Sterling's going to win 2-0. I think they're going to win in 2 sets. I think their power duo between Laurel Conway and Aaliyah Herman is going to carry them to this victory.
Yeah, and for me, I think Sterling will win this one in 3 sets, 2-1. I mean, as you were saying, the best duo we've seen here at the Castle, Leah Herman and Laurel Conway, going to come through. Hopefully, other girls can step up as well, such as Juliana Mesta can also come through for the Lady Knights here today.
Definitely, and never back down, never give up.
Exactly.
Amen.
Amen to that. So about to get ready here for some girls volleyball. Again, Sterling coming in at 1-7 and Cinnaminson coming in at 1-5. Intro coming up, as well as some girls volleyball here on Channel 19. Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Sterling Channel 19. I'm Brian McLaren, and joined by Dan Leakin and Connor Strauss. We're here for some girls volleyball as the Sterling Lady Knights take on Cinnaminson. And just in a few moments here, we're going to get into some girls volleyball action. We talked about our feelings for the pregame show, just these two teams coming in. But again, an important thing to point out, Sterling has won the last 7 meetings against Cinnaminson dating back to 2018. So they can make it eight times in a row where Sterling can come out with a victory.
Yeah, and I hope they do. I mean, it's a great competition for them, especially at the record that they're at right now, and I think this is an important win for Sterling.
Yeah, I agree. This is definitely a big win for Sterling. If they do, they need to win this game, get some momentum, carry it into the next games, and hopefully bring that momentum into come playoff time. I know it's still far, but you need momentum come playoff time.
Yeah, again, Sterling with a 1-7 record, but they have a lot of talent on their roster, led by Laurel Conway, 31 kills leading the team, as well as 36 digs. That's second on the team behind Danica Zane, the junior. But again, a lot of talent on this roster. Aaliyah Herman, Jules Mesta as well. So a really high-powered Sterling volleyball team, obviously, again, not showing in their record. Same thing goes for Cinnaminson. I mean, you have Alex Arnold in there as well, leading the way for Cinnaminson. But we are about to get ready to head into the gym for some girls volleyball action. As you take a look, both teams in their respective huddles. Glad you're with us here on Channel 19.
Very excited for this game today. I really want to see Sterling pull out a win here. Again, as Strauss was talking about before, momentum's a big thing coming into this game. They haven't had a lot of luck on their side, especially with injuries, especially to their number 1 setter, Johanna Dunnings, the junior. So let's hope that they can get a bounce-back game here and get a win.
So both teams getting ready to get things underway. And a new look here on Channel 19 for some girls volleyball. Obviously, all 3 of us here back in the studio. We're not in the gym.
Yeah, I'm really liking being in the studio. I got to say, I do like it here.
It kind of like, as we were talking about, it's kind of like the inside the NBA type thing.
Mm-hmm. Like Charles Barkley.
Charles
and Shaq.
Barkley. Yep, exactly. And a lot of the fun moments that they've had in their studio. Hopefully we can try and replicate that out here.
I think we need a Sterling Knights version, Shaq and a Fool.
Yes, exactly. That'd be fun.
JaVale McGee.
Also, new graphics up here on the screen. New way to keep score.
I like that.
Again,
a lot of the changes that we've made.
I like
Yeah,
switching
it's
up the
fun.
graphics.
Exactly. I love the new things that we're adding here to Channel 19. Just
Coach's
keeps it.
Corner, now we've got this.
Yeah.
I'm really liking this. I think we should do this a lot more often. I really like the pregame shot.
So Sterling will hit it over as we are about to get underway. And here we go for game 1. And that one not able to get over the net, so the first points will go to Cinnaminson.
Yeah, and I think definitely, this goes for any team, but I think one thing you definitely want to work on are those serves. You got to make sure they get over the net to even just start the game.
So that serve not going well for Cinnaminson, so.
We'll restart.
We will restart. We won 1 game. 0-0.
I think an important thing if Sterling wants to win this game is really they need to utilize their timeouts. Make sure that they're using them if they see Cinnaminson start to get some momentum. Make sure they utilize those timeouts.
We got a 1-1 start. A nice block that does hit the net. So the point will go to Cinnaminson. They'll take a 2-1 lead.
Definitely a smart block there. Just, getting right over the net and making sure that, I think that was Laurel Conway, couldn't make a play, which is one of Sterling's, I guess you could say, big dogs in this game.
Alex Arnold will serve it. They're trying to keep it alive. They cannot. So the point will go to Cinnaminson.
And I think a big thing there was just communication and making sure you're talking around. And I think Sterling didn't do enough of that there and gave Cinnaminson a good point.
So Cinnaminson with an early 3-1 lead. Arnold sends it over. Not able to get it over after that second hit. So now a 4-1 Cinnaminson lead. Obviously, Cinnaminson taking advantage of Sterling's early mistakes. Serve not able to get over the net by Arnold, so Sterling will get the point. It's now 4-2.
Arnold leading the team aces though. It's not exactly what you want to see from one of your best servers.
Yeah, and I think Sterling's really got to limit the mistakes this game. I think if they just play a clean match, they should come out on top.
I think the first set here, Sterling will get the point. I think the first game here will definitely define how I think these next one or maybe even 2 games go for both teams.
Yeah, this is a very momentum-based sport, so you want to make sure that you get that momentum early. You don't want to fall asleep early, and then next thing you know, you're behind in the first set.
And just able to sneak over. Nice block by Cinnaminson, and he'll get the point.
Laurel Conway is such a dangerous player for Sterling, and in order to get that block on her was huge for Cinnaminson. That is a well-played point from Cinnaminson.
Yeah, if you're Cinnaminson, that's your main target is you want to shut down Laurel Conway. And if you're going to be able to do that, then you should have a good game.
So a 5-3 Cinnaminson lead, not able to get it over.
And that's Conway again. Cinnaminson stuffing. I think, when you play like such a big weapon, like when you play against, such a big weapon like Laurel Conway, you do a lot of filling, you do a lot of studying on her. And, that's what they've been able to do so far, and that's just limit her chances of, I guess you could say, killing her.
Yeah, when you see a set like that going towards Laurel Conway, you know exactly what she's going to do. So you got to make sure that you're able to block that, which is obviously easier said than done. He's such a great player, but yeah, you got to make sure that you're ready.
So that one's served over. Cinnaminson out to a 4-point lead. Sterling looking for back-to-back points here. Nice save right there. Still bobbing around, and Cinnaminson will get the point. Sterling couldn't get it over in 3 touches.
I think Sterling just a little confused on the call there, but definitely a great effort from Sterling, making sure that ball didn't hit the ground, and great effort all around to keep that in the air as much as they could.
Did these teams meet up in the playoffs last year?
I'm not sure. Maybe you can get some Connor Strauss research up in there. That one not being able to stay within the blue lines goes out of play.
Another miscommunication from Sterling. They're doing a lot of this where 2 of them are going for the same ball, and you see that in hockey, you see that in soccer. You've got to make sure only one of those players gets that ball. And that's been the fault of those 2 points.
Yeah, in these team sports, you really got to make sure that you're communicating, making sure that everyone is playing their position. It's huge in hockey. You see all these good teams miscommunicate, and they aren't as good as teams with better chemistry that might have lesser players. So you got to make sure that you're communicating all the time.
So serve there for Sterling. They trail it by 3. Great save, but Sterling not able to corral it. This will be a 9-5 Cinnaminson lead here in Game 1.
No safety lead, no lead is safe in volleyball. So, Sterling just has to make sure to keep their head in the game. And same with Cinnaminson, they cannot take their foot off the gas.
And Cinnaminson having a lot of serves going over that back blue line. Sterling just really not being able to take advantage after that. I mean, they're still within 3, but it seems like after the poor serves by Cinnaminson, they can't really get a rally going. Cinnaminson not able to keep that one alive. The point will go to Sterling. They're now within 2.
That was a great dig attempt from Cinnaminson there. Just couldn't get exactly what they wanted under it, but definitely a great attempt.
Almost hit the referee on that.
I think it did.
Did? Couldn't tell if it hit the ref or the side of the net.
Fortunately, we can't get a replay during this way of broadcasting, and Cinnaminson not able to get that one over. So now it's a 1-point Cinnaminson lead.
I think that was a great serve. I think that was the senior, Juliana Mesa. Just got it right over. The libero couldn't do much for Cinnaminson.
Maester serves it again, goes out of play, and we are knotted up at 9.
Same thing once again, and just another great serve. Volleyball can do it, and that's a timeout for Cinnaminson. Big timeout right there as this game now tied up at 9. What have you guys gathered so far here in game 1?
Yeah, I think Sterling has played well. I think they got to limit their mistakes more, but I think overall they've played a pretty good game. They got to make sure that instead of like going for the spike, just get it over. I think let the other team make the mistake.
And as the GOAT ball hockey coach Joseph Tully would like to say, talk. I think they got to communicate just a little bit more. I think two of them cannot be going for the same ball at the same time. I think the libero has to communicate. I think the setter has to communicate. I just think all around the communication needs to be a little better, and I think Sterling could, pick up some momentum here, especially with that timeout.
Yeah, I mean, and both teams have really done a good job at taking advantage of other teams' mistakes. As I was saying a little bit ago, Sterling really wasn't doing that, but as pretty much right after I said that, they started to pick it up, and now, because of that, we're all tied up at 9 as we're about ready to resume action here in the gym.
Yeah. Ball hockey coach Joseph Tully does talk about communicating a lot. We don't do a lot of that.
Again, all tied up at 9 here in game 1. Just a poor hit right there that'll give Cinnaminson the lead.
He just hit right off the top of his fingertips. I don't think he can do that.
Volleyball's a very hard sport to play. We've played it in gym class. It's a lot harder than they make it look.
Cinnaminson with back-to-back points after the timeout. I guess from what it looks like right now, it seems to be helping for them.
Yeah, and when you do call a timeout in volleyball, the team that forced the other team to call a timeout usually gets a little momentum boost. Their confidence is a little high. But Cinnaminson game planned well coming out of the timeout, and they've pretty much taken away Sterling's momentum that they had going into the timeout.
Yeah, because I think Sterling had they had 3 straight points heading into that timeout. I think they were down 9-6 or 9-5, and they were able to tie things up, and a great job by Cinnaminson to strike back. Another point for Cinnaminson is that just sneaks out of the blue box, so it's now back to a full point Cinnaminson lead at 13-9. Serve for Cinnaminson. Good volley here by both sides.
We're getting a bit of a rally, but we haven't had one of those of long run so far in this matchup. That's a one goal there.
It'll be Sterling who will get the point. That'll put them in the double digits and make it a 13-10 Cinnaminson lead.
Yeah, and Dan, you're a tennis player. There's 3 sets in tennis, too. Talk about how important it is to win the first set.
The first set, it gives you a big momentum going into your second and your third set. And, that goes for any sport that has multiple sets. And I'm sure you understand this as our first singles tennis player. You want to win that first set. It is so important and so vital for the rest of the game. And it gives you a good chip on your shoulder.
Yeah,
go into it.
Yeah, you see it a lot in tennis. If you win the first set, maybe you win the first set very close, like a 6-4, 7-5 first set. Then the next set, you've got all the momentum. You can get out early, and next thing you know, you win the second set, 6-2.
Nice job there by Sterling to keep this one alive. They still trail it here at 13-11. Nice block to keep things going. Still keeping it alive here. Great volley between both sides.
It's been a very impressive rally here.
And that one will be victorious for Sterling.
Showing her, she has a great height, she has a great jump. And there's not much you can do, especially a very tiring, long rally like that one.
Laura Conway, also a former tennis player. Her freshman year, she played during the COVID year where volleyball got moved to the winter.
A faulty hit there gives Cinnaminson point after the Aaliyah Herman serve.
Definitely something to look at here. The libero, I think, was going through junior. He was a junior. It's very interesting to see a junior in that spot, in that leadership role, because they play a huge role in the sport of volleyball. And you know, you would think it's one of the seniors, but the junior gets that call, which is very, very cool to see.
So that hit goes out of play. I believe it's now 15-12 in favor of Cinnaminson. Again, coming into this, Sterling has won the last 7 in a row against Cinnaminson, dating back to 2018. So trying to keep that streak going. Great point there by Cinnaminson. A great kill makes it a 4-point advantage.
Yeah, Cinnaminson, ever since they called that timeout, have looked phenomenal. They've outscored Sterling 7-3 since that timeout. So whatever they said in that huddle, it's working.
Keeping it in. First pinball machine at the very end of that, but that will be a point for Cinnaminson.
And you know, Brian, you mentioned the history, the fact that Cinnaminson has a run to 2018 and Sterling calls a timeout here. It may give them, you know, a chip on their shoulder. You know, they want to win. And I'm sure it's been, you know, year after year where they keep losing and keep losing and keep losing. I think their time is up. I think they want to win, and I think, you know, they've been doing great so far.
Yeah, I think they've done a phenomenal job of just getting the lead early and maintaining that lead, which is the most important thing. You can get a lead, but maintaining it is the hardest thing to do, and I think Cinnaminson has done a really good job of that.
And you're going back to how important it is to win game one, especially in a 3-game sport like volleyball is. So I think a win here for Cinnaminson will increase that momentum. Again, after that timeout, you said Cinnaminson outscoring Sterling 7-3. So a big timeout right there for Cinnaminson. And it's showing that they're just improving throughout this game. So far holding that lead over Sterling.
Sorry, Brian, you never know. It could be the same effect for Sterling. You know, maybe Sterling needed that timeout to come back in and, you know, try and force themselves back into this first set, because as we were talking about before, it is very important to win this first set.
So Danowski with the serve for Cinnaminson.
But then again, if Sterling does end up losing the set and they don't get flat-footed in that second set and they come out and win in a dominant fashion, it's going to be a very tough third set for Cinnaminson.
And that'll make it unpredictable too. You kind of wouldn't know which way game 3 would go. That served just a little bit too hard for Cinnaminson, and the point will go to the Lady Knights.
I think that's a vital point for the Lady Knights. They have not gotten one in a little bit, and I think that that's a good point to start building up some momentum.
There's the serve. And Cinnaminson out to a 5-point advantage. Sterling trying to get a little rally going. Nice punch there as it falls to the ground. Cinnaminson up by 4 now.
I guess she's back again. Laurel Conway with that beautiful kill, and you know, giving Sterling another point, trying to build up some juice for the Sterling team.
Yeah, and when you have players in volleyball, there's so many players on each team that are in such a small area. It's tough to find the area where no one is, but Laurel Conway does a great job of finding.
So that's serve for Sterling too weak there. The point going to Cinnaminson.
And speaking on that, building up on what Connor said, Laurel Conway has a lot of power to her kills as well. So, you know, being able to be smart and do the right play is very, very impressive for a girl.
So Sterling can't keep that one in play. The point going to Cinnaminson. So Cinnaminson now 5 points away from taking game 1. Serve here by Arnold, too weak. Sterling will get the point. Just tuning in, 20-16 in favor of Cinnaminson. Sterling keeping this one alive. Try not to fall here in game 1. Hits the roof of the gym.
Yeah, and that's a tough thing with volleyball is you play indoors and the roof isn't always that high up. So you got to deal with playing off the roof.
And it's just like the soccer team playing on turf or grass. You got to get used to your environment no matter where you are, which is a tough thing to do, especially playing away.
So Sterling with back-to-back points here, get it in within 2.
And building up that momentum, like I said earlier. Laurel Conway with that great kill. This is exactly what I think Sterling needed to get themselves back in this game as they are crawling to catch up to Cinnaminson.
2-point lead for Cinnaminson, make it 3. Sterling not able to keep that one alive. It's now 21-18.
And that's something what we like to call textbook volleyball right there. A great set, great kill. Sterling's defense really couldn't do much about it, and it's a great kill.
Serve here for Harvey. And just poor communication there by the Lady Knights. Point there for Cinnaminson. They're back to a 4-point lead. Now just 3 points away from winning game 1. There's serve there for Harvey. Nice job by Cinnaminson to keep it alive. That hit not able to go over the net, so the point will go to the Lady Knights.
Big credit to Julia Harvey with that dig there. That is a tough shot to play, and she got down and made sure that ball was stayed up. They may have not gotten the point, but that was a great effort from Harvey.
And the point will go to the Lady Knights. Just bounces within that blue box.
So what I was talking about, once this game started, Sterling, climbing back. No lead is safe in any sport, but especially volleyball. It is so quick that a team could crumble, and Sterling can get back into this game.
Yeah, and I think one of two things will end up happening in this second set. No matter who wins this, you'll see one team, whoever the losing team is, you'll either see them start to get upset and not play as good as they did in the first set, or you'll see them come back even stronger and take over that second set.
That was a great kill from Cinnaminson right there. Just put it right in the corner. Textbook placement from Cinnaminson.
So a 3-point advantage for Cinnaminson, 2 points away from taking game 1. And Sterling can't keep that one alive. Cinnaminson out to a 4-point advantage, 24-20.
And Cinnaminson took their foot off the gas for a minute there, kind of let Sterling crawl back into this one, but they're doing a great job of keeping their foot on the gas as a timeout call for Sterling, which I think is the right call. It might have been Cinnaminson, but definitely the right call for either team to, regroup, get their girls together. Cinnaminson called that, good time to review the play, make sure they secure this win, and if it's Sterling, trying to get some extra spark in their girls here. Brian, how do you feel like this has gone so far?
It's kind of you've had your positives and you've had your negatives. Just sometimes a bit of poor communication by the Lady Knights, but they've also done a good job, I think, better after the timeout to try and gain momentum, at least stay within about 2 to 4 points. They've done a good job at least managing this game, but right now trailing this one by 4, trying not to fall here in game 1.
Yeah, and I think Sterling, this set isn't over yet. Coming out of the timeout, you've seen each team play better coming right out of the timeout. So I think if Sterling's able to get that comeback in the set and end up winning the set, then that's going to be huge to bring into the second set.
It is tough though because they are on the receiving end of this serve here.
And that one falls, and game 1 will go to Cinnaminson by a score of 25-20. So Cinnaminson with a game 1 win. We'll be right back for some game 2 action here at the Castle.
Dude, would you check your email?
What's email?
The thing that keeps making that sound! Now I know why you didn't join me for the Fires game! Open it now! 1,700 emails!
Maybe you should open your emails too.
You think so?
Man, I love this one. Ready to duel?
Yeah, the last one didn't finish.
Expelliarmus! Wakanda! Wakanda! Flamio! Oh. What does that do? Electrio!
Can I go to the bathroom?
Hello everybody, welcome back to Sterling Channel 19. Here with this historic broadcast as we are here in the newsroom. I'm Brian McLaren, joined by Daniel Leakin and Connor Strauss. Cinnaminson taking game one, 25-20. How do you think Sterling can bounce back here in game two?
I think they just got to be more consistent with what they're doing on the offensive side of the ball when they get the ball. They got to limit the mistakes, I think, and if they just play more consistent, I think they'll be able to take the next two sets.
And I'm going to say what I said in my first note, and I'm going to say it again. I think they got to talk a little bit more. They haven't been doing a lot of communication between the setter and, everyone else. So I think everyone just has to keep talking and keep talking and keep talking, trying to climb back into this game.
It's definitely a historic broadcast for us. This is the first time we've been in the newsroom for a broadcast, and I'm really liking it.
Yeah, I'm liking it too. I mean, for me, it's a little bit more difficult to identify players, so if there's any players that are later watching this and I accidentally misidentify you, I apologize. Just a tad harder.
Brian apologizes for all of us.
Indeed.
But Sterling, back to volleyball. Sterling getting that first point there was pretty huge. I mean, just to start off, losing the first set, getting a point there is huge for the Sterling Knights. Trying to, make it 8 in a row since 2018.
So Alex Arnold here with the serve. This one tied up at 1. That one will go into the bleachers, and Cinnaminson will take a 2-1 lead.
A lot of Sterling's problems right now, ever since the first set, and we just saw it there again, their digs have gone wild. They either go straight up in the air, they go into the bleachers, they go into the bench. They have to get that control down in order to get a point here for Sterling.
So that one going out of play. Point will go to Sterling, and it'll tie things up at 2 here in game 2.
A lot of twos.
A lot of twos.
Indeed.
How many outs are there?
Two. Only so little people would understand that.
Well, if you do,
Congrats.
Speaking of Alex, Dan, you're going to the Phillies game tonight.
I am. I'm quite excited. I will be attending with Michael Foley and Aiden Perriman, and my dad, of course. I'm pretty excited to watch the Phils win. But more importantly, I do want to see a Sterling win right here, right now.
So that one not able to go over the net. Not a great serve there by the Lady Knights.
Philly's taking on the next time.
They are. First game of a 4-game series.
Definitely a good game series. What's our magic number now?
I believe the magic number is down to 6 for a playoff spot, 7 for the top wild card.
Yeah. Looking for 7.
And if we do get that 7, we would host the wild card series in Philadelphia.
For our non-baseball watchers, you guys want to explain what a magic number is?
Magic number is the number of games you have to win in order to make the playoffs. And the Mets are actually really close to missing the playoffs, so a big series win before the Phillies can knock those New York Mets right on out of it.
The Mets are below 500, right? They're
Oh, yeah.
a lot under 500.
Our magic number came down to the wire last year, so let's hope that doesn't happen this year. Let's get back to some
Let's
volleyball.
hope we have a magical number for last year, right?
Sterling gives up a point there. I think they're all shaken up right now. I mean, everything from the digs to the spikes to the kills to the aces, assists, anything. I think they're just all jumbled right now on offense and defense. And I think they just have to get their minds back into it, as they did right there. I mean, that's great for Sterling.
Yeah, hopefully it can lead to a bit of a momentum shift. Has Sterling really had a big lead in this one? I don't think they have.
I don't think they have. They've either had like a 1 or 2 point lead, or it's been completely tied, or they've been down, which has been most of the games so far.
Again, a hopeful momentum shift as that serve just tips off the top of the net.
Yeah, and that's weird for me and Dan to see, because we're used to in tennis, if the ball does hit the top of the net on a serve, it's a let and it's a redo of the serve.
So
Definitely different.
So a 5-5 tie here, and the Lady Knights will take the lead. Back-to-back points.
Chocolate. Straight down. Can't get easier than that. Just hit it straight down to the defender. Shouldn't do anything.
Did you say boom shakalaka yesterday? I feel like you did.
I think he
don't
did.
know. I like boom shakalaka.
Are you trying to be like Jake's Humdiddly Dee?
No, I don't want to do that. But I just think boom shakalaka is pretty funny.
It is.
It's a fun word.
It is a fun word, right?
Yeah.
It's fun. I like it. I mean, I don't even have a catchphrase, but
I mean, you don't need a catchphrase. Well, Cinnaminson calls a timeout here.
yeah,
They're
no,
really getting some momentum here as they're, climbing their way back to the second set.
I thank you for demonstrating what climbing is, Dan.
Yeah.
But Sterling with a 7-5 lead again. Thank you all for joining us here on Channel 19. I'm Brian McLernan, joined by Dan Leakin and Connor Strauss. A very fun announcing trio here for you guys today. Again, a very historic broadcast out here in the TV studio, which is where we usually record the morning news, where we record the coaches show, which is back. We just had that second show recorded earlier today. We'll have that one up for you just before tomorrow night's Friday night football game, as Sterling will take on Collingswood in a big rivalry game.
I'm hoping you see a lot more of this trio. This is probably, our fall trio?
Yeah.
I would say so, yeah.
I like
Had
it.
a lot of fun.
It's been a lot of fun.
And I'm hoping Sterling can pull out a win tomorrow against Collingswood. I mean, I know the band will be pumping. Techler will obviously be pumping, as we always do. But let's just hope with the 2000s rave theme it's going to happen. I hope Sterling can take a win for all these super fans that will be popping out.
Yeah, I'm excited to see how that theme goes for the Sterling super fans.
Yeah, I know there were a lot of questions about the theme. There were some people that wanted 2000, some that wanted neon. I'm glad they were able to combine. And overall,
We can all be united.
yeah, there we go.
So a serve there for Cinnaminson. They trail this one 7-6. Sterling trying to send this to a third game. Good volley between these groups, goes out of play, and the point will go to the Lady Knights. It's 8-6.
It's a great play by Sterling, keeping the ball up. And I think they looked a lot more controlled with that one. As I said earlier, both of the guys here could see how they were getting a little frenzy, or they were getting a little, shaken up. But I think that one was a controlled set, a controlled point. Great job by Sterling to, get themselves back in it.
Yeah, they've looked very calm, cool, and collected in this second set. I mean, Dan got a little excited about that one. It's his thing.
I said that a lot yesterday in a boys soccer game.
It's that one. I mean, just a great heads-up play by Cinnaminson to not go and dive for that ball. I know it's tempting, but great play.
In soccer, I think you are actually allowed to kick the ball in volleyball to keep it in play.
Yes, I think that is correct.
that's true. Yeah, I think I've seen it.
Also,
Not often, but
speaking of soccer as well, Strauss was talking about yesterday how the ball kicked off the post when the player who got the kick went for it again. And we had a rule correction here today. He was not offsides. The rule is that player was not allowed to go for the ball first, unless say Travis were to touch it before him.
Yeah, so the official rule from Mr. Sheehan was if the ball hits the post and deflects, any other player but the player that shot the penalty kick can touch it before the player that shot the penalty kick can. If it deflected off Travis, then the player he could have gone for it. But because it hit off the post, they don't want players shooting at the post and then getting the rebound, kind of like a breakaway in hockey. So I was wrong, but
With all this soccer talk, we have a knotted-up volleyball game right here, right now. Sterling has got down a little bit, but has come back. Now it is 10-9 Sterling. Big switch for them here. Exactly what they needed in this moment. Guys, tie shoe. Tying the shoe.
So Sterling will send it over. They lead this one 10-9. Keeping it alive, and it will stay just in play.
That was a great kill from Sterling right there. A great set, a great kill. And I don't know if you two saw, it's kind of hard to see on the monitors in front of us, but it just stayed in. That was a great call.
Yeah, that was close.
and overall, I think that was a great play by Laurel Conway. She is all over the court all the time.
One of the reasons why she is such a talented player. Again, leading the team with 31 kills off of the 36 digs, which is second on the team behind Danica Zane, who has 50.
It's a lot.
Indeed it is. That's why it is red on my stat sheet.
Yeah.
So an 11-10 Sterling lead here in game 2, trying to send this one again to game 3. As we were saying earlier, just trying to keep this streak going. Again, Sterling has won against Cinnaminson ever since 2018. And a nice job there by Sterling to keep it alive, but could not stay alive as the point will go to Cinnaminson.
I definitely think that Sterling has looked a lot better during this set. I still think they're still trying to knock some type of rust off here. They just don't look like their normal self in Sterling volleyball here, but they're doing a great job to do what they can at this moment.
And sometimes it takes that game to kind of knock off that rust a little bit. And it's kind of like what we saw for different types of sports. I mean, like, let's say for the Eagles, for example. Like,
They
in a
still
first,
have not knocked that rust off.
yeah, they haven't looked like their normal selves, but they're still finding ways to find some sorts of success, and that's kind of what some of these athletics have done, especially girls volleyball. Obviously, their record not showing it, but they still have that talent on their roster, and they still have been proving that they can very much stay in these types of games.
And you know, Brian, the Eagles do remind me a lot of this Sterling volleyball team. We got so spoiled with a championship run last year, and Sterling volleyball also had a pretty deep playoff push, and we were very spoiled. So watching these teams kind of like try and knock the rust off, it's a little bit shocking for us. But I think they're still great teams. I think they're still very talented, and I think over time they're going to get this off and they're going to start rolling.
Yeah, and if you remember last year with the Eagles, they just got better as the season went through. We kind of saw the same thing at the beginning of last year. Maybe not as bad, but we did see them a little rusty. But yeah.
That serve not powerful enough. So Cinnaminson with a 14-13 lead. If Cinnaminson wins game 2, they win it overall today. So Sterling obviously trying not to let that one happen. Remember a few years ago with the Eagles, they were 5-7. And they were eventually able to win their last 4 games of the year and get a playoff spot.
I do remember that. That's when we played the Seahawks.
Exactly. But hey, this is something that maybe this team could do right here. Not starting off the best. But it's not about how you start, it's about how you finish.
You know, 2020 and 2021 Eagles had a very similar thing too. I think they started off 2-6 after they lost to the Chargers, and then came back, got 9-8, and played the Bucks. Unfortunately, lost, but
It was just
it's pretty much that's pretty
It's a
much
team.
the exact thing.
It's a team that's not backing down and not giving up.
never back down, never what?
As the King Nikkei 30 says.
Oh, a big shout out during this timeout that has now been called to our producer for today's show, Ben Nicholas, doing his first game producing inside of the producer's chair. and he's doing a great job with this game. Good job to Ben Nicholas.
And great job to everyone else helping us out here today. Obviously, Matt Strader with graphics, Mr. K back there as well. So a lot of props
They
to
are all
our
waving to us from
people
the
there
production
in the
room.
back.
And
We did say Ben.
we already shout out Ben.
We shouted
I
out
was like
Ben.
the first guy I mentioned, okay?
But yeah, a lot of people don't recognize how much goes on backstage for us to sound and look good over the air.
Exactly. I mean, this is an Emmy Award-winning program, and that's like, it's kind of weird to say out loud a little bit because like it doesn't feel real.
It doesn't.
And
No.
one person we definitely forgot is Mr. K, who is the man, the genius behind
He
all
is
of
the
this.
man, the myth, and the legend.
All at the
He's
same
what
time.
makes this possible.
As we're getting back to some volleyball.
Hooray!
So obviously, a big timeout there from Sterling.
And a
that's
great
exactly
job
what
by
we want.
Sterling to answer.
You definitely have to say, boom shakalaka. A big hit from Laurel Conway there. A great kill. Let's see if Sterling can get the train back on the track and build some momentum.
16-14 in favor of Cinnaminson. 9 points away from ending Sterling's streak. Sterling trying to keep this one alive, send it to game 3. Nice job to keep it alive, but unfortunately can't keep it alive for much longer. So a point there for Cinnaminson, 17-14. And I think what Cinnaminson has had over these Lady Knights today, and something we've talked about a lot here on this broadcast, communication. I think they're doing a much better job at talking, and yeah, that's pretty much just what it's come down to so far.
That's something I push a lot for a lot of sports. I think without, a good relationship with your teammates, and I'm not saying Sterling doesn't have great relationships, but without, talking all the time and, having communication, you're not going to be successful in this sport. And Strauss, when you're playing, your first singles for tennis now, but when you play doubles, how important was it to talk to your teammates?
It was everything. You had to have a good connection with your doubles partner. If you didn't, then you're not communicating, and it leads into a bad doubles team. You guys could both be the two best tennis players on the court, but if you're not communicating, then you're not going to play well. And it's really that important. I made sure that me and my doubles partner, we weren't only hanging out at tennis, we were hanging out outside of tennis.
And for everyone confused on why we keep referencing our tennis, as Sterling calls a timeout there, Sterling and volleyball and tennis are very similar in the fact that it's played through sets, and I get hit a ball over a net, and you play with a teammate unless you're playing alone, whether it's singles. So Strauss and I have a lot of experience doing that, and what we're saying, having great connections with your teammates, communication is huge, whether it comes to volleyball or tennis.
Yeah, but back to volleyball here. Cinnaminson with a 5-point advantage over Sterling, now just 5 points away from taking game 2 here and winning this whole thing. Cinnaminson on the road, they're 0-2, so winning this one here not only defeats the Sterling 7-in-a-row streak, but that will also give them their first win on the road this year. Sterling 1-2 here at home at the Castle after their win against Florence. But back to the gym here, Sterling trailing this one.
And we are all 5 points away from ending up on freezing cold takes.
Let's hope that's not the case.
And if that turns out to be us, that turns out to be us.
Exactly.
Let's
And a
hope
great
it isn't after that.
Great point there by the Lady Knights. So they stay alive here in this one as of now.
And that's one of those points that you can really build on and hope to get enough momentum to come back and win this second set.
They've had a few of them, but Cinnaminson has done a great job of diminishing that momentum as soon as they possibly have could.
Yeah, it feels like Sterling hasn't gone on many long runs at all.
So the point there for Cinnaminson is that serve misses wide to the right. So now a 21-15 Cinnaminson lead, one of their biggest leads they've had here in game 2. So Cinnaminson now just 4 points away from taking this. Sterling will have to climb out of a big hole.
And I think if you're Cinnaminson, you don't want to get too jittery. I know you're probably feeling a little excited right now, but yeah, you got to keep calm, you got to keep cool, and you got to keep collected in order to win this game.
Yeah, in a sport like this, that last point is the toughest to get. Said in tennis, especially, they're putting their all into that last point. That's going to be the toughest point to get.
The serve coming here from Julia Harvey. 7-point lead for Cinnaminson, their biggest of the game, I think of the day.
That's a great dig right there, keep this rally going for Sterling. And it's exactly what helped them win that right there. That was an amazing point from Sterling. Close to the net.
So hopefully a momentum shifter here. Sterling now trailing this one by 6. Good volley here between both sides. Sterling trying to cut this to 5. Still in the air. And it's a point for the Lady Knights. That one a bit too hard. It's now 22-17.
And I think if you see there, I'm going to give, and even though that was Sterling's point, I'm going to give Cinnaminson a little bit of props. When that spike came down from Sterling, Cinnaminson just got right under it, and it was able to keep that point going. And I think that's something that they've done this game that Sterling hasn't been able to. So major props to Cinnaminson players there for, keeping themselves calm and making sure they deliver a good dig.
Yeah, they've done really good with their digs today. Sterling, they're very good at spiking it, but Cinnaminson has been right there to dig it out.
So a 5-point Cinnaminson lead, 3 points from winning the match here today. That one just goes out. Point goes to the Lady Knights. It's now 22-18.
Here we go. Sterling climbing back into this game here. Let's hope they can keep it going, keep this feel going, and hopefully scrape themselves back up. And there's another one.
So Conway with the serve. That one goes out. It's now a 3-point lead. And as you said, climbing the ladder as a timeout is called, I believe, by Cinnaminson.
And we're all going to climb the ladder here. Here we go.
So Sterling within 3 now as we're about ready to get things back underway here in game 2. And that's a big timeout there by Cinnaminson. Both teams just trying to either stay with momentum or gain some more. And now Cinnaminson 3 points away from taking this one, but Sterling now 3 points away from tying it up. So a big timeout here for both sides, trying to adjust both these teams' game plans.
I definitely think that this big stretch of points has been huge for Sterling, getting themselves, they were down by 6. It was 16-22, and now it was 19-22. Closing that gap as little as you can, as much as you can, no matter how much time it takes, is huge for Sterling.
Yeah, but I also think Cinnaminson has done a really good job of just damage control. They haven't let Sterling get anything big going. So I think it was a good job to call timeout early there. Usually some teams want to play it out, let their players play it out. Cinnaminson messing around. They want to win this game in straight sets.
But Sterling now trying to bounce back again, climb that ladder. A 2-point lead for Cinnaminson. Sterling, I believe, with 4 straight points. Goes out of play, and another Sterling point. They're within 1.
This is a huge shift for Sterling. They are switching gears. They are taking control, and this is exactly what we've been waiting for from Sterling.
So Sterling now trailing this one just by 1. And another point for the Lady Knights. We're tied up. What a huge momentum shift. A big timeout as we were talking about. And now Sterling tying this one up at 22.
And I know I said it a few times before, but no lead is safe in any sport, but especially volleyball. It is so quick for everything to switch and your momentum to switch. And now Sterling has got this all knotted up at 22.
In this sport, not something you want that the nerves getting the best of you. And now Cinnaminson will take the lead right back as they get the point. Now just a 23-22 lead for Cinnaminson.
I think that's a detrimental point for Sterling there. I think that's very damaging to what you just built. And I think they just kind of knocked it all down there. Let's hope Sterling can get this point here. This is a huge point for Sterling.
And that one falls and hits the floor. So a 24-22 lead for Cinnaminson, 1 point away from taking this one and ending the long streak for Sterling. Coming in, they have won 7 in a row against Cinnaminson. Cinnaminson's last win back in 2018, and that streak is going to end. Cinnaminson takes down the Lady Knights 2 games to nothing as they win game 2 25-22, won game 1 25-20. So Sterling climbing up the ladder, but unfortunately they fall off all the way down to the bottom. So Cinnaminson will move to 2-5 on the year, Sterling to 1-8. A very unfortunate loss here for the Lady Knights this afternoon.
And I think, Sterling needs to really bounce back. I think they have to be a little bit more put together. I think they were a little too separate during the game. And I think if they can bunch back up together and, talk a little bit more, do a little bit more, get a little less antsy. I know it's tough, to be in the moment, to play. I can tell you from an athlete's experience that's tough. And he can. But I think Sterling just has to get back into the swing of things like they should.
Yeah, and they need to get back into the momentum. They need to get back into the swing of things. I think it's almost as much of a mental game as it is a physical game. You can't be in your own head. You can't go into every game with a losing mentality. You have to kind of forget about the losses and bounce back and go into the next game with a positive mentality.
Yeah, but this is also a big win here for Cinnaminson, now 2-5 on the year, getting their first win on the road. So that's a big statement win. I mean, obviously, again, these two teams, record-wise, not being some of the best, but a big win there for Cinnaminson, and a very unfortunate loss here for Sterling, now 1-8 on the year. A tough hole to climb out of, but still not impossible. I mean, they have that talent. Laurel Conway, Aaliyah Herman, Jules Mesta, 3 very talented players, and obviously having some of that young talent on the team as well can help out, build a team's chemistry, build a team's momentum, and hopefully they can climb out of this big hole that they've set for themselves.
Yeah.
But I believe that might do it for us today. Sterling falling this one 2-0, losing game 1 25-20, and losing the second game 25-22. But that's going to do it here on Channel 19. I'm Brian McLernan, joined by Daniel Leakin and Connor Strauss. Thanks to Ben Nicholas, Mr. K, and everyone else here on the tech crew for helping us out here with this historic production here on Channel 19. But that is going to do it. Thank you all so much for tuning in. And as always, go Knights!